like this time is different, let me hear you make some noise. I said, if you feel like this time is different, let me hear you make some noise. Friends, I've been in this fight for a decade. My name is Maxwell Frost. I'm a survivor of gun violence and organizer, former and inaugural national organizing director for March for Our Lives, and now I'm running for Congress here in Orlando. Thank you. It is an honor to be with y'all here today. You know, what got me involved in this fight was the Sandy Hook shooting. And I remember it specifically. I saw what happened, and I begged my parents to let me go to Washington, D.C. for the memorial. And it was there that I met someone named Matthew Soto. I remember Matthew was crying about his sister, Vicky, who was a teacher at Sandy Hook. When she heard those gunshots, she hid her entire class in cabinets to save their lives. The shooter came around and asked where the students were, and she said, "I'm not going to tell you," and he murdered her. Seeing Matthew, at the time he was 16 years old, seeing a 16-year-old with the demeanor of a 60-year-old, crying over his sister who was murdered for just going to work, completely changed my life. You know, I remember I went straight to my hotel room. I called my mother up, who's a teacher, and I think I see her right there. My mom's somewhere here. Give my mom a hand. But you know, having a mom as a teacher, I thought about my own mom, and I remember I said to myself that night, for the rest of my life, I'm going to fight for a world where no one has to feel the way I saw Matthew feel that night. Y'all, we lose over 100 lives a day due to gun violence. Yes, that's mass shootings, but it's also suicide. And yes, it's suicide, but it's also the gun violence that goes on in our black and brown communities every single day, that are forgotten by our leaders, that are forgotten by the people meant to protect us. And you know, I'll tell you that right here in Orlando 2 years ago, I hit the streets with thousands of other protesters for months on end, saying that Black Lives Matter. And during that struggle, while we were proclaiming that, I'll tell you, I was tear gassed, I was maced, I was arrested. Hell, I went to jail just for saying Black Lives Matter. Y'all, we have a lot of work to do, but I'll tell you that no matter what happened during that experience, no matter how difficult it was, my resolve was never shaken because of the people who are doing the work. The people who are saying that the only time we fail is when we stop trying. Family, I'm here to tell you that a better world is possible. I'm here to tell you that we have to use every tool in our toolbox to get a world where gun violence doesn't exist. So yes, that means march. Yes, that means protest. It also means get involved with your community, mutual aid, so we can take care of us in a system that doesn't always take care of the most vulnerable people. That means vote. And we need you all to vote. On August 23rd, we got a primary coming up, and it's important that we elect candidates who are going to go to Washington, D.C., go to Tallahassee, go to City Hall, go to the Orange County building, and fight for a world where we have the freedom to live. See, I'll tell you, there's a side in politics, it seems like they have a monopoly on freedom. But I'll tell you, true freedom isn't freedom from, it's freedom to. It's the freedom to live. It's the freedom to live without the fear of being gunned down in your church, without the fear of being gunned down in your home, without the fear of being gunned down in your community. That is true freedom. That's the freedom that the 49 angels at Pulse were denied. It's the freedom that the 10 folks in Buffalo who were murdered because a white supremacist, domestic terrorist wanted to kill black people because of the color of their skin. Y'all, we're in a fight for our lives. Just a few days ago, me and some organizers, we went and confronted Governor DeSantis just a few blocks down the road. And you know, oftentimes people ask me why we do these protests and why we have to confront folks like that. It's because they don't host town halls here in Orlando. They don't ask us how we feel or how we need to move forward. So we're forced out of survival to confront them when they least expect it. But I'll tell you this now. Look around. They're expecting us now. So we tell them, expect us. We are the voices you can't ignore. We're not going to stop protesting. We're not going to stop voting. We're not going to stop getting involved in our community because we know that that better world is possible and we deserve it. So Orlando, the question is very simple. Are you ready to fight for somebody that you love? I said, are you ready to fight for somebody that you love? Are you ready to fight for somebody that you know? And here's the most important one. Are you ready to fight for somebody that you don't know? Are you ready to fight for somebody that you've never met? That's what this fight has to be about. Solidarity is a verb. And let's get to work, y'all. Thank you so much. We will